Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the Hands-On Science Center for another one of our exciting take-home science kits. My name is Olga Oakley, and this is Mr. Sean Amadon. We're here at the Hands-On Science Center, and we are super excited to bring you another fun kit. And today we have our bird kits, right?
Bird habitat building.
Yeah, what's all in here, Sean?
Cool. So this one is a real fun one. This is a little more natural history, talking about habitats for animals. We'll talk about what that is in just a second. But let's see what we got in our kit. We got a little birdhouse. And let's see, something else looks the same, a bird feeder.
Cool.
And our ever important instruction manual and little lesson. We'll dive into that in a second. Little cup of bird seeds.
Birds are gonna like those.
They are yummy.
Oh yeah.
We got a pencil, paintbrush, and some paint. So we are going to get creative today also.
Oh,
so
great.
Very fun. So let's set that aside. Oops. Let me pick up my paintbrush here. All right, so bird habitats. So first of all, a very important question, Olga. Do you know what a habitat is?
Well, isn't it somewhere where we or a living animal lives?
Yeah, so a habitat basically is everything around you. So, it's the water around you, it's the plant life around you, it's the other animals that are found around you. So, Olga, what is your habitat?
My habitat is a house. I live in a house that's, on some land, and I have a bed, so I guess my bed's my habitat. And what about these birds? And I know today's lesson is kind of about birds, and we're going to make a bird house. So birds, they live in a lot of different places, don't they?
They do, absolutely. First thing we're going to have everybody do, though, is the very first page of your book here. We want you to go ahead and take a little pretest.
All right, so we want to take that pretest so we could see our viewers at home what they already know about birds and habitats. And what happens if we can't answer the questions?
So if you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know. That's perfectly acceptable. We want to know if we're teaching you anything. I prepared this lesson plan for us today, Olga, and I want to know if there's something in here that you didn't already know. So you're going to take this little pretest. At the end, there's way back here in the book, exact same test, and we'd like you to take it again, and that way we see if you learned anything. So go ahead, hit pause, and we'll see you just a couple seconds after you take your pretest.
All right, welcome back. So if you completed that pre-test, and once again, as Sean mentioned, at the end of the lesson, if you could do the post-test as well, we would love if you could send in or bring them in when you pick up your next science kits, the pre and post-test, just because we want to see if our viewers are having fun, if they're learning a thing or two about our lessons, and it'll help us prepare more for future take-home science kits as well. All right, Sean, so we have all of our supplies out on the table, and let's talk a little bit about birds. We see birds everywhere, and they're beautiful. There's all sorts of birds. Birds, they all eat different kinds of varieties of foods. So what do they exactly really need in order to survive?
Yeah, so basically all animals, let's talk about just survival at first. Before we dive directly into birds, all animals need certain things to survive. They need food, they need water, they need shelter. Just like anybody. They all need those things. So for this particular lesson, what we're going to be doing today is talking more specifically about the food and the shelter portion of it, and a little bit more about birds. So the world is a huge place. How many different types of habitats do you think there are? I mean,
a lot. Hot and cold climates, more grasslands, more trees, all kinds of different places.
Yeah, absolutely. Water. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's a huge place, all different types. So we can't talk about all the habitats. And also, how many different types of birds do you think there are?
Different types. different species of birds, probably hundreds.
More.
More?
In the world, scientists actually believe there is 18,000 different species of birds.
That's a lot of birds.
And right here in Tennessee, over 400 different types.
Oh my goodness.
So,
that's a lot of birds.
yeah.
I believe it though.
Yeah,
Yes, there are a
it's-
lot of pretty birds out there.
It is. I mean,
Different types.
there's all kinds. So we have a little fun activity
Okay.
here to start with. So in this page of your book, you're going to see these 4 pictures right here. And Olga, I want you to look at this first one. It says habitat/bird A.
All right.
And what we're going to do is we're going to look at these pictures, and first we're going to guess what the habitat is based on the picture. And then if you do know, you're going to try and guess what type of bird it is. So if you want, Olga, on the next page, actually right here, the page right across from it, there's these little, looks like little sticky notes. So those are your field notes.
Okay.
So you're pretending you're a scientist out, and you need to identify the habitat and the bird. So go ahead and everybody take a minute. Olga's going to go ahead and get started on that, and we'll see you in just a second.
All right, welcome back. So after you did this little portion right here in the booklet, what we did is we looked at the 4 pictures of 4 different types of birds and what kind of habitats they live in. So I took my guesses over here and I wrote just what kind of bird I think they are, and I wrote what kind of climate I think they live in. Maybe some are cold, maybe some are hot, maybe some are more humid, some are more dry, some are really, really wet. Do they live in trees? Do they live more in ponds and lakes? Or do some of them even fly? Not all birds fly, do they?
That's true, they don't. So that's good. You took some good guesses here. We are not going to tell you exactly what the answers are yet. If you want to know, right here at the bottom of the book is the answers. But the point of this activity is to get your brain warmed up, get you thinking. I put a couple birds that I think are very recognizable in there, and a couple that are a little less common that most people haven't heard of, just to get your brains working a little bit. So after you got that, we're going to turn to the next page.
All right. Okay, so right here it says, "Let's fly on today's project."
Let's fly! Yay!
Fly, 'cause
And
birds
we're
fly,
funny.
you know. All right, so we already opened up our box and we have our 2 little kits. One is a bird feeder, what the birds would land on and eat, and hence your little bird food right here. And then you have your bird house as well. So you have the birdhouse, bird feeder, you have your paintbrush, your paint, seeds, and your pencil. So the first thing what we are going to do is we are going to make our bird house right here.
So let's do some home construction.
We're gonna do some construction.
Construction workers. All right, so real simple, Olga. All you gotta do for the first step, open up your packet. So open up your packet there.
We can do that.
Save the bag. On the back of the bags, there are actually directions for putting them together. So we're going to jump back and forth from your book to the back of your bags. So go ahead and hold on to your bag, and as Olga gets that open.
I can't open it unless I have scissors.
She can't open it unless she has scissors. So
Or my teeth. I got it.
yeah, there you go.
Oh,
She
there we
got
go.
it. She's
Got it.
very creative. She figured out a way to do it. So go ahead and see what we got inside our birdhouse bag.
All right, so this is the birdhouse bag. We have a piece of string. We have some glue right over here. We have what looks like a little bird perch. It's just like a little wooden rod. And this is very, very small, but we have a little hook.
Yeah, be
right
careful
over
with
there.
this, guys. This one, a little tricky. It can fall on the floor and disappear. I think Olga can attest to that. So you want to hold on to this, set this aside, try not to lose it because you're going to use that later on. Now that you got everything open, Olga, what you're going to do is you are going to start following the instructions that are on the back of your bag there. This is going to take a little while. We are working with glue. Things are going to take time to dry. You may even let this go overnight and pick up the video again, tomorrow, however you want to work it. But you want to go ahead and put together your birdhouse. And before you do that, we're just going to jump up to the next step real quick in the book, So it says, a bird's got to eat.
They gotta eat.
So you're going to grab your feeder. You're going to, after you put together your birdhouse, while it's drying, you're going to grab your feeder and you're going to put it together. If you notice in your book, the step that says now, after everything has dried and you've completed all the steps, take out your paints. We'll get back to that in a second.
Awesome.
So the one right before that where it says next, where it says the bird's got to eat, you're going to follow all the steps on the back of your bag except for the last step. And as you're reading your bag, you'll realize why. So you're going to follow all those steps except for the last one. You're going to let everything dry. You're going to do the last step, and then you're going to join us again.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so we'll see you in just a little while.
Do we want to? All right, welcome back. So I put together these two little fun creations. This is our birdhouse, and this is the bird feeder. Now, the only thing about these is it's pretty straightforward to put together if you read the instructions on the back, but they are a little bit tedious because that glue, you really have to let it dry. So I know that the hardest part for me was the first step because you have to, and if you have a friend or a parent that could help you as well, or your brother or sister or anyone, maybe holds two sides really gently while you hold the other sides and just wait a few minutes just to let it get that good hold, and then you can start putting together the other parts as well.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice
So
and sturdy. All right, so you got them all put together, completely dried, and we are ready to move on. So now's the fun part, Olga. Step now is decorate your feeder and house however you like.
yes, so now we have our planter, or our feeder, and our birdhouse all put together, and we have these fun colors right here. So I'm gonna just kind of start decorating them because it's gonna make it look really, really pretty when you put them up in your tree. And also when you're done with this, please have your parents send us and put it on our Facebook, just different pictures, and you can comment on a post we're gonna have called Show Us Sunday, Take Home Science, Show Us Sunday. So we would love to get videos and pictures of the kids at home putting together our fun, exciting bird houses and bird feeders.
And now while Olga starts her decorating there, the final step, it says, finally, we get to hang our feeder outside. So we'll talk about that as we go on to these next bonus steps. If you want, you can just end there, but there's some really cool stuff that we can do. Like Olga said, the Show Us Sunday, we definitely want to see the pictures there. But we got another activity for you. The next page here, you can see another chart. So we have another journal going on here. And this, I think, is the real fun part. So we are going to make some scientific observations. And for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to use our feeder. You can also hang up your birdhouse, but specifically for this activity, we're going to use your feeder. You got your little cup of seeds here, so you can go ahead and add those to your feeder. We are going to be doing some observations over a course of a 10-day period. So you may need some more seed if you have a lot of birds visiting. You can also try different things, even fresh fruit, things like that. One thing that works really great is grape halves. You just cut some grapes in half and put them in there. But either way, you want to have your feeder filled. And what you're going to do is, if you look right here in your book, it says, now we are going to make some scientific observations. Hang your feeder outside somewhere where it's shady. Birds don't want to be in the bright sun when they're eating. And really the best time of day is going to be sometime in the morning or late afternoon when it's not quite as hot. But you do want to pick a time where you can go outside and watch that feeder at the same time for 10 days. Or over the course of 10 days. We'll actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to be making observations on 5 of those 10 days. So what you're going to do, go outside, hang that feeder up, and then on day 1, probably today, just sit there and very quietly watch.
So we probably want to see how much what kind of diversity we have when it comes to birds. And this kind of also shows, in where we live in Tennessee, that we have, you said, over 400 species of birds. So surely you'll probably find at least a few. And, take different observations of, right, not just what colors they are, but like what kind of feathers you think they have. Are some smaller or some bigger? Do some have more feathers on top of their heads? We want to see all those observations that you make.
Yeah, so you're going to write down right here on day 1, you're going to write how many birds visited the feeder, and then you're going to write down what they're eating. So that's either seeds. Now you can take some more observations. You can see there's different types of seeds in here. You have the big black sunflower seeds, and then you have the smaller millet, different things like that. You can do that if you want, or you can just write seeds. Or if you put fruit in there, you can say that they're eating the fruit. So you want to write down how many birds, what they're eating, and here's the real fun part. If you really want to get advanced, try to identify the birds, like Olga was talking about. You know what's the easiest way, biggest help sometimes? Ask Google. Now,
So you're 2021.
Yeah, 2021. Have Google help you with the birds in your local area and see if you can match them up. And then you're going to write them there all on day 1. And now you're just going to let your feeder sit. And if you need to refill it, definitely refill it. If you did use fresh fruit, here's a little tip. You are going to want to change that out daily, even if you're not making your observations, because it can get moldy or whatnot. But make sure you have food in there. And then you're going to come back and you're going to do the exact same thing on day 3. Now you are going to see if more birds visit or less birds visit and all that. And see if maybe new species of birds. So write down all your birds there, and then you're going to repeat the same thing on day 5, day 7, and day 10.
Wouldn't it also be a good idea to observe what kind of weather we're having? Because maybe some days will be more rainy, some days will be more sunnier, or maybe if we have a lot of rain for 2 or 3 days and then we have a sunny day, are we going to have a lot more birds flying around and landing on your bird feeder right after we have a lot of rain, or maybe if it hasn't rained for a few days? So maybe play in consideration the kinds of weather that we have as well.
Yeah, now remember guys, we are being scientists. We are trying to figure out how these birds are acting out in nature. So you don't have a lot of space in your book here, but if, like Olga said, if you want to get really into this project, get yourself a little notebook and put day 1, day 3, day 5, day 7, all in the notebook, and make even more observations. The more you do, the better. And for me, the more you do, the more fun, because you can make this project what you want out of it. Now, here's the cool part, Olga. We are actually going to offer a prize for everybody.
Oh, sweet.
For everybody that takes the time to do this. So after your 10 days, what you want to do is get your parents to take a picture of your observation log here, or if you made your own out of a notebook or something like that, get that picture, and then have them post that onto their Facebook, and put a little note about how your kid was a naturalist and was observing the birds, and then tag Hands-On Science Center, and everybody that does that, or gets their parents to do that for them, is going to win a prize from us here at the Hands-On Science Center.
Awesome. That is great. So that's just, a little more of an incentive to keep on for the whole 10 days. So you can get something cool from us.
And then also, don't forget, you can either do this after the 10 days, or you could have done this, back at the beginning after you finished the lesson. But we do want you to take this post-test to see if you learned anything. So definitely do it.
Awesome. So I'll probably paint a little bit more later, but I painted 2 little flowers. And another little tip is so your paints don't mix so much. If you want to just get a little cup of water just so you could clean out the brush every time. Or what I did, I took the back of our little instructions and I just kind of wiped off the excess paint that we had as well. So thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. We would like to thank AEDC, the Air Force STEM program from Arnold Engineering Development Complex. They are helping us support all these take-home science kits that we are continuing for the rest of the year. And also, if you look at the last page, on August 19th, we are going to have our Facebook Live virtual classroom. And this one is about the science of scent science, so all kinds of smelling things. Some good things, some bad things, some good smelling, bad smelling stuff, like how just our nose works.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be kind of interesting, won't it? All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we hope to see you here at the Hands-On Science Center soon. We are open back up to the public now. All right, thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you.